Hello, hello there, and welcome to another episode of WOK Talk. I actually prepared ahead of time a fact about the WOK, the Walk for Lost Loved Ones, not the WOK walk, but the long distance 50-mile walk to raise awareness for suicide prevention. The halfway point, and I'm pretty sure I haven't used this fact before, the halfway point for my walk is the world's biggest beaver. So anyone familiar with the landmark in Beaver Lodge will be familiar with the giant beaver. And there's all sorts of crude jokes to be made about the world's biggest beaver or Canada's beaver, depending on how mature you want to be. So I'll just leave that to you. I know the first time I was walking there, all I could think of were puns about going to because I was going to go and sit on it, and I was like, no, I'm just going to touch it and walk away. Like, I don't even need to sit on it and be that dramatic. So I'm like, I'm going to go touch Canada's beaver. And it's like, wow, that's a really crude thing to say that kind of underplays the seriousness of the walk. So I am sorry about that. But yes, the halfway mark is world's biggest beaver in Beaver Lodge. And I talked about that for way too long. So let's hurry up and get to the squats so we can get on with our reaction to the reaction here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've been listening to the Superhero Complex on Spotify. It's one of the podcasts from iHeartMedia, so get ready for a lot of ads. I call iHeartMedia iAds Media or AdHeart. Great podcast, but holy fuck ads. And I say that while delaying my video, which is why ads suck. But I wanted to bring that podcast up because you learn a lot of great facts about Phoenix Jones and his crew. And that was something I had missed in our last part. It had showed a character who wears a luchador type mask, El Caballero, and I'm not pronouncing that right, and I'm not going to try again because I'll just make it worse. It's Spanish for knight. He is the pioneer of the real life superhero community that taught us why you don't wear tights in real life situations, because he just about got his junk ripped off while out on patrol. That is one of many fun facts you will learn if you listen to the Superhero Complex. But enough talking about other stuff. Let's get back to Sweet Shirt and Co.'s reaction to the rise and fall of Seattle's real-life superhero Phoenix Jones. I'm butchering the title of the documentary that he's watching, but this is his X-Cast where he reacts to stuff in all sorts of cool stuff. I think he said something about stuff in the 80s and 90s, and I'm butchering that intro. I should have just recorded the intro. He has a nice little intro at the beginning that I totally skipped, and I feel bad for that now. So let's continue on with Sweet Shirt and Co.'s reaction to Phoenix Jones and all of his adventures in this documentary.
Very specific attributes he wanted in his fellow superheroes. They needed to know how to fight. Military and martial arts background was a strict prerequisite, and the recruits stayed sharp with regular training.
Average police response time in Seattle is 5 minutes. We're going to try to basically hold off an attacker. Me, Evo being the superhero, we're going to try to keep it going for about 5 minutes is the goal.
By late 2011, the group had accumulated around 10 members. With names like Buster Doe, Midnight Jack, and Red Dragon, they were a diverse cast of characters. But unified under the leadership of Phoenix Jones, they became the Rain City superhero movement.
I would say that the Rain City, the Rain City superhero movement is as close as we got to a real life Justice League, even though there are other teams out there like the actual Extreme Justice League and well, I don't want to name group names if I'm not going to remember them correctly. I'll just say there's a lot of organizations out there, including new organizations from new heroes like the Order of the Magi, uh, which my big inspiration, Four-Man, has founded. And yeah, no, there's all sorts of organizations out there, but this Rain City crew, they were something else. There's so many big names were in that crew that went on to do great things and did great things while they were working with Phoenix Jones. I have my criticisms of how they have an emphasis on fighting, but that's their strength as well. I mean, like, who's gonna fuck with all these guys who are together? They are a unified force, and they have an emphasis on combat training, with varying degrees of that. Their Evocatus, he was part of the Phoenix Jones crew. I shouldn't call it just the Phoenix Jones crew. I should call it Rain City. Uh, at the very least, just so because they're not his fucking sidekicks. I hate when people call other people in the group his sidekicks. That is, he was definitely the leader, but that doesn't make everybody uh, under him his sidekicks. I think in real life the term sidekick has a lot of very insulting connotations. But if somebody wanted to call themselves a sidekick to a real life hero, I don't think that would be a bad thing. I think it's just everyone deserves to be legitimate enough to be the hero rather than being delegated to a support position. But maybe the idea of a sidekick just hasn't actually been battle tested, or maybe it just didn't survive the transition into reality with the whole real life superhero thing. But let's get to the fucking show, because all I do is fucking talk and we barely get through this at all. So I am sorry for the snail's pace that we go at. It's just I want to talk about this stuff. That's what my show Walk Talk is all about. I wanted it to have more of an emphasis on real life superhero stuff, but I also talk about stuff from my life because I am a real life superhero, and so it relates. And let's shut the fuck up and watch. And I'm sorry for my potty mouth. I try not to swear too much, but fuck, I frustrate myself sometimes.
Black's gonna go undercover and attempt to make a drug buy. I don't usually look like this. And once he sees the drugs or the thing, we're gonna come in and bust him.
See, this is dangerous. Okay. First of all, who is selling drugs to that guy? Like that guy. If I'm a coke dealer, and that guy comes up to me, to make a deal, I'm out of here. I'm not, who's going to negotiate with that guy? And also, what happens after the deal is made? It's not like when the police are there and the FBI get there and once that one transaction happens, this shit hits the fan and everybody comes storming in and it's over with. What happens? They don't explain what Plan B is.
Yeah, what is the best case scenario sometimes? I mean, like, you can imagine a lot of really bad worst case scenarios, but I don't understand how, because you don't legally have the right to like detain people and stuff. That's where a lot of the legality falls apart. Is you can make a citizen's arrest if you can confirm that somebody's done a crime on another person. In most places, there are varying laws to how citizens, varying degrees of laws to how citizens arrest works depending on where you are. But yeah, like if you detain somebody and you can't and you weren't like the victim of a crime they were doing, or were a witness of an immediate crime, you're just what's the, I'm not looking for the word kidnapping, but when you hold somebody against their will, like you can't do that, like And that's the problem with a lot of stuff is whose authority and what right do you have to do certain things. And when you're taking part in drug bust scenarios, I have this problem with real life cops. They're taking part in what most people would call criminal activities under the guise of busting the criminal activity, but they're going out and trying to buy drugs. Is that what they're doing? Is that what a superhero should be doing? Like, I smoke myself a lot of weed, but I mean, I don't. I would have trouble accepting a real life superhero that did hard drugs like methamphetamine or fentanyl or something like that because I can't believe that a person would be able to make rational judgments under those harsh substances, even though I'm not a user of those substances, but still, that's a judgment I make. But that being so, I'm not going around trying to bust people for drugs. That's one thing I do not do. If somebody who does drugs needs help, I want them to come to me if they need help. That's the bottom line why I don't fuck with people doing drugs. But let's hurry up and continue on because we're only going to go on for a couple more minutes here because we are almost out to the memory limit of my tablet. I checked before we started.
Here's what's going on. We got cameras all over, and we saw what's going on. And we came in here because we saw what's going on.
And he's got cameras all over, and he's like following the guy. That's their success is just harassing people until they go away and they don't feel comfortable selling the drugs. It's kind of lame, isn't it? I'm not gonna like being a dick, but it's kind of lame.
We're not with it anymore. We're tired of it. Bad people keep selling drugs in the city, polluting the block. We're tired of it. It's kind of funny, but I'm dead serious.
Phoenix's approach remained polarizing. As he often invited camera crews to follow
he's
him
getting
on
laughed
patrol,
at.
some sense Jones cared more about his own celebrity than improving his community.
But he did succeed.
Have you really made the best uses of media attention to further the causes you claim to serve? Fellow Seattle-based hero Ravenblade asked in an open letter to Jones, have you really acted like a hero? The criticism was largely engulfed by outspoken supporters who considered Phoenix Jones the first legitimate real-life superhero, a distinction from the costume street performers many had come to associate with the movement. They continued, allegedly chasing down a suspect in a stabbing, even stopping a bus from being hijacked. Phoenix and Purple Rain were married, and the two of them together serving as the dual public face of the group seemed to be good PR. Interviewers and media out
Good PR. That is the understatement of the fucking century. Like, even though they've been apart for a long time, the symbolism of Phoenix Jones and Purple Rain, like you see them in the different photos, and it's like, yeah, like they were the power couple of the real life superhero community, and yeah, the understatement of the century.
outlets were divided.
What are the odds that you find like a female companion who also wants to be a superhero? Purple Rain.
It's a superhero fairy tale.
It's about Nightwing and Batgirl, isn't it? I mean, that's what it is.
It's beautiful.
It's more about that than anything else, is it not?
Hey, if you're just joining, we are watching the Phoenix Jones documentary. This is our first cast here on Kick. We normally do shows on TikTok Live, YouTube, but I've decided to just come over to Kick and maybe focus on stuff going on over here. Just like the way the layout is. But right now we're watching the Phoenix Jones documentary. He was a superhero, real life superhero, from around 2010. So strap in. This is something you've never seen before, probably.
Some choosing instead to highlight their accomplishments.
Tell us what happened tonight. Phoenix saved your life.
Man was
Something
getting,
fell. I don't know what it
security
was.
At a nightclub. He proceeded to get violent with me and my group of friends. Phoenix ran in and pepper sprayed the guy and defused the entire situation.
How did you hear about it?
The group was earning a bit of
As much as I criticize pepper spray, I mean, it's not like it never works, you know? Like, there's a perfect example of he went in, he diffused the situation with pepper spray. I worry about pepper spray because I have breathing conditions. I'm asthmatic myself, and I know pepper spray could probably kill me pretty easy, so it would be pretty stupid for me to carry it. Um, but I worry about that on other people too. You'd be using it as a simple self-defense deterrent, and then you end up suffocating somebody who has a breathing issue. That's what I worry about with pepper spray. But that's not what this was. This was an example of somebody who was saved by Phoenix Jones, basically saying he came in and stopped somebody from being violent and saved me. And it's like that's exactly what you want to hear. That's inspirational. That's effective. That's everything a real life superhero should be. But tempted to cut it off right here. If it cuts off randomly, it's because we ran out of memory. So be prepared for random cutoffs. But we're going to inch forward another minute or so. Minute or two.
Respect. And with Seattle having a crime rate 126% above the national average, receiving an F rank on areavibes.com, the Rain City superhero movement had their work cut out for them. But the interventionist approach the heroes employed often skirted the lines of legality.
Put your hands up.
Yeah.
Stay right here. Stay down.
The process of a citizen's arrest, which the heroes regularly performed, is a complicated and unpredictable one, as it's often easy to mistake the context of a given situation. Jeremy McHenry of MPS Security Services had this to say of the concept of a citizen's arrest. You're going to be sued if you mess up. You can be arrested for making a false arrest. Many understood that Jones's reckless
This also that quote came from a guy who was on the level of being like a mall cop. So this is exactly why when you go to like Target or Walmart or the mall and you commit a crime, they're not supposed to touch you because they don't want to get sued. They're instructed to not even confront you really. They can tell you that they think that they saw something, but if you run or attack them, they're not supposed to do anything.
approach would sooner or later.
It varies from place to place. That used to be the case around here in Alberta, but it seems like the security guards are getting a lot more physical with people, and I don't consider it a good thing. I consider it seeing Phoenix Jones style behavior everywhere. And that's just it, is when people are held to the standards that are supposed to be for everyone, not everybody likes it because the security guard says he can't do his job. Phoenix Jones says he can't fight crime, but people don't get jumped by security guards, and people don't get like people who are stealing food to survive don't get the shit beat out of them, you know. And it's like I think that's a better world. And it's like, yeah, you lose some chips, but those stores, they charge extra based on how much they're going to lose. And so if nobody steals from the store, they're stealing from you. I hate to like sound like I'm pro crime, but I mean like they account for theft and charge you more because of it. Shouldn't that be a crime? Or at the very least, if they're able to cut down on theft, shouldn't prices go down every once in a while? Like, I don't know. Maybe theft is just so rampant that they can never bring the prices down. Also, I will say on the side of crime prevention is that crime does hurt the system and allows companies to justify greedy behavior like that. But I'm going to cut it off. I'm Captain Canada, Joseph Arthur Roszell. I really want to thank you for watching. I want to wish you all luck in the world. I love you, and I want you to know that suicide is never the answer. Peace out for now.